this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder that Capital One Bank Guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also tell you about how Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One N.A., member FDIC. Work can be a little weird. Cringy training seminars, coworkers who won't stop talking about their plant, forgetting the mute button at an inopportune moment. We have to deal with a lot on any given workday. Sometimes it can feel hard to thrive and move forward in your career. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in. LinkedIn helps you get ideas and insights from experts in your field, connect with people professionally, grow your network, and access tools designed to help you find the right fit for your next role. Whether you're just getting started, figuring out your next move, or looking to accelerate your career, LinkedIn is built to support you at every stage, because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark with Charles W. Chuck Bryant, Jerry, Jerome, Roland, and Frank the Chair.
Oh, Frank.
He's been here the whole time. He just keeps quiet mostly.
Yeah, I don't have my hat on today, though, so we're one
I know
man
what
down.
gives.
I don't know. You know, I'm growing the hair out, so I thought I'd just let it flow.
I noticed. It looks good.
Well,
Why are you growing it out?
I don't know. It just sort of started happening. Then I was like, my brother's got good hair. His is longer.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to be more like him.
Plus, can't have a butt cut with short hair.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I've had the same short, spiky hair for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Time to mix it up. I know, man. When I started growing mine out, I was like, what am I doing? What's with this cue ball crap? I'm so tired of all this. Let me just see what it looks like, you know, with a, what's that quarterback's name?
Joe Theismann.
No.
Joe Theismann.
No.
Terry Bradshaw.
No. Well, you know, the one.
Randall Cunningham.
No. Tom Brady.
Oh.
Tom Brady. Despite your harassment, I still figured it out.
What about Tom Brady? You want his hair?
I have his hair, buddy.
I don't know about that.
I do. Me and Tom Brady know. Chuck.
Yes.
Did you grow up on TV dinners at all?
No.
Really?
No, my mom was and is a great cook, so she wouldn't have that.
I see. Wow. Well, I did. I grew up on TV dinners, and usually when a TV dinner appeared, seriously, you did miss out. They were pretty amazing when you're like 6, 7 years old.
Oh, I've had them.
When you were 6 or 7?
No, I had them like in college.
Oh, okay. So you understand the magic of a TV dinner, right?
Sure.
All right. Imagine that as like a 6-year-old.
Oh, I'm sure. It was magical.
Right?
Yeah.
All of your food's in like a different little compartment. There's a brownie just staring at you, waiting like, just wait, buddy.
Yeah.
When you're 6, it's just even better. And when I was 6, if I would get a TV dinner, it meant that my parents were like going to do something, right? They were going to play bridge or something like that.
Right.
So it was like a special night.
Hitting
like
the key party.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'd probably get to stay up late, or there'd be some babysitter or whatever. It was always just kind of a special thing when TV dinners made an appearance.
My parents never did anything together.
They never played cards or...
No, man. I rarely had babysitters. I don't remember having babysitters.
There was always one of them there?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they didn't trust you.
No, they didn't like each other.
I got you. Well, then they may have really enjoyed key parties.
Well, plus, you never know. I have a sister that's 6 years older, though, so...
Oh, yeah. Built-in babysitter.
Yeah, but they still didn't do a lot. I can literally just think of a few times. They went to an Olivia Newton-John concert once.
Mm-hmm. They've got a pretty good track record so far.
My mom went and saw Elvis, but not with my dad.
Wow.
On that last tour, too, man. Oof. I think they call that the Jumpsuit Integrity Tour.
Hold on a second. Let me catch my breath.
Yeah. But anyhow, they didn't.
What an undignified ending.
Yeah, they didn't do much stuff together. So I didn't get a lot of TV dinners. I didn't get a lot of, hey, just throw it in and warm it up. My mom was kind of always cooking for us.
Yeah. No, my mom cooked a lot too, but now that I'm older and look back, I'm like, oh, that was a pretty convenient meal. Like, she was a ER nurse, for Pete's sake. She had weird hours and stuff.
Sure.
So, but she was a great mom. She raised me very well, as everybody knows.
It's a well-known fact.
So, with TV dinners in particular, though, I have a certain amount of nostalgia for them.
Sure.
But apparently, like, America as a whole has a bit of nostalgia for TV dinners. There's a TV dinner in the Smithsonian, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
And that's like America's greatest repository of nostalgia.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I think we should take people on a delightful tour of the history of this wonder.
Of TV dinners?
Yeah.
You sound like you're not so sure.
No. I am sure. I was just joking around. I was trying to set it up as some, magical experience that everyone's about to have. But
I feel like that's ingrained in it.
So as the story goes, Swanson, C.A. Swanson and Sons was and is a leader in the frozen food industry.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not this is legend, who knows? But it's a great story. Was that one Thanksgiving they had too much turkey on their hands post-Thanksgiving.
Yeah, to the tune of something like 250 tons of turkey that they didn't sell. They overestimated.
Which is so sad,
Yeah,
for those
turkeys are like, thanks for nothing.
Like we so wanted to give our life as a meal.
Right. Now we're just on a train.
Well, yeah, that's what they did. So the story goes, they couldn't store it. They didn't have enough room and no freezer room to store all this turkey. So they put it on a frozen train or a refrigerated train car.
The Polar Express.
It's called in the industry. And the trick to this thing is in order for that train to stay refrigerated, it's got to keep moving. And so they basically were just running this turkey all over the country to keep it frozen and cold. Right.
It's like that one movie set in the future with Tilda Swinton, where like the train never stops and all of society's on the train.
Yeah,
it's like that, but with frozen turkeys.
That was a good movie.
So it's like that cross between that and Speed.
Yes.
Like, so if the train ever stops, it's going to lose refrigeration. If it loses refrigeration, the turkeys all go bad. So there's this.
Do you remember that Simpsons?
Which one?
When Homer's trying to describe or think of the name of the movie Speed. He's like, it's about a bus. If its speed goes down and it can't speed up, and he says it like that many times, and he goes, I think it's called the bus that wouldn't slow down. Or that couldn't slow down.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Very funny line.
But this was real life, Chuck. This wasn't a cartoon or a joke.
No.
500,000 pounds of turkey on a train, and if it stopped, it would spoil.
What are you laughing at? Simpsons?
No, the idea that this actually happened.
Oh, I know.
It's so insane to me. So apparently the Swanson brothers, Clark and what was the other brother's name?
Gilbert.
Gilbert. I wanted to say Clark and Gable, but Clark and Gilbert Swanson said, all right, employees, we need you to put your heads together and come up with an idea. So they had, and again, this is the legend, they had an employee contest where whoever could come up with what to do with all this turkey, I guess would just be the employee of the month or something like that. And all the while, this contest is going on in the Swanson Company. There's a train out there in the United States of America just circling endlessly, because it can't stop or else the turkeys will go bad.
Until Tilda Swinton wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a salesman named Jerry Thomas, Gerry, not like our own Jeri.
Right.
Which no one ever gets right. This is the part I don't get. He traveled from Nebraska to Pittsburgh to where Pan American Airways had their kitchens.
Right.
Because they were testing single compartment foil tray meals that they would serve to people. And I guess he couldn't
envision what that might look like unless you went there in person.
Right. And steal one.
Well, yeah.
So, it was a single compartment, right? So basically it was just a tray that you put a bunch of food on. There weren't like different compartments in the tray.
And he's like, I got to get my hands on one of these.
Right. This is innovation. I don't understand that either, which is why his story smells a little fishy to me.
Agreed.
But this guy, Jerry Thomas, is he's known as the inventor, basically, of the TV dinner, right?
Yeah.
So he comes back to the Swanson brothers and says, I got it. I've driven from Pittsburgh back home to wherever the Swanson Company is located. Where am I? He famously said. And he said, and I've added 2 more compartments into this tray. So now it's a 3-compartment tray. And
he said, I drew 2 lines
right,
in this tray.
I know what to do with the turkey now. We're going to basically sell it as a frozen Thanksgiving dinner. And they said, you're Employee of the Month, Jerry.
Yeah. They say, look, you got your potatoes and gravy here. You got your peas here. You got your turkey here. None of it touches each other. I'm a genius.
I'm Jerry Thomas.
So this coalesced with another craze, which was television. And in 1953, there were 33 million households with televisions. And it was really, I mean, there had been other people that had been doing this before. Quaker State Foods in 1949 had something in the supermarket, a frozen meal called I know one of the most offensive brand names ever. Yeah, the one-eyed Eskimo label. Yeah, that's terrible. So they were selling those in supermarkets, and then in previous to that, even the Strato plates from Maxon were being served on airplanes, but not as a retail food.
Right.
So it had been done before. So the creation of the TV dinner.
Well, wait, don't leave out Jack Fisher.
Who?
Jack Fisher.
Oh, right. What was that one called?
Frigid dinners.
Yes.
But they're the most depressing meal ever.
Because they were served in bars?
Yeah, they were served in a bar. So you didn't have to leave to go home to eat dinner. You could just stay and keep drinking.
Oh, man. There were some bars in L.A., in Los Feliz when I lived there, that around 2 a.m., the tamale guy would come around.
So, okay, that's different.
Oh, dude, it was the best.
I'll
I mean,
bet.
they were legit handmade tamales, and at 1:55 was the perfect time to be dropping in to the drawing room, you know?
Oh, yeah, nice.
Anyway, the creation of the TV dinner was not so much that it was a brand new thing, but it was a marketing success story, because the TV, they thought, if we can build this thing around the television, then we've got something on our hands.
Right. That was the key. The TV, making it a TV dinner, right? Because all of a sudden it was like, hey, everybody loves TV. Plus, this is something I didn't realize. It added a certain amount of like cachet to the TV dinner.
Right.
Because if you had a TV dinner, it meant that you had a TV.
Yeah.
And if you had a TV, you were probably upper middle class.
Sure.
At the time, right? So the idea of having a TV or a dinner to go with your TV really appealed to Americans. And even to this day, it was such a great marketing coup, I guess, that people still call these, like almost any frozen entree or frozen meal, a TV dinner.
Yeah.
Even though it was 1962 when Swanson stopped calling their products that. They still made the products, they just stopped calling them TV dinners.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else kept calling them TV dinners.
Yeah, you were eating these in the 80s, like 20 years after that brand went away. Mm-hmm. Still calling them TV dinners.
And eating them on TV trays. This is another thing you missed out on, Chuck. Did you have those?
Sure.
So that was the whole point of a TV tray. Was it was a foldable individual table that you would open up in front of yourself and eat your TV dinner on while you were sitting on the couch, so you could watch TV most efficiently while you were eating dinner.
Yeah, now they call that the coffee table. You just stoop over a little bit.
Right. Or the sink.
What?
Yeah, eating over the sink?
I don't know what that is.
That's a depressing way to eat.
So these are actually called, that was the brand, Swanson's TV brand frozen dinner, and they're their big concept with the box, if you look it up on the internet, was it looked like it was designed like a little television. The box was the dinner itself was like the screen on the screen, and then it had the little dials on the bottom left and right corner, and it looked like a little TV.
Right.
And it was 98 cents in 1954, and they sold a ton of them.
Yeah, they apparently. So again, remember, all this came from a bunch of turkey that was about to spoil. So Swanson ordered
a really gross start to an industry.
Swanson ordered like 5,000 of them initially to be made, and they hired a small battalion of ladies in aprons and ice cream scoops and spatulas to assemble these things, right? And they just had them go right down the assembly line, and they sold 5,000 just almost immediately. And apparently in the first year that they sold like 10 million of them.
Wow.
So they came out with them in 1954, and by the end of the first full year of production, which I guess would be 1955, they'd sold 10 million of them. So Amazing. They went from initially ordering 5,000 of them to selling 10 million of them in a year. So it just hit America just right, Well,
yeah, and it was at a time where women were starting to want kind of re-enter the workforce, gave them time that they could still get that hot meal on the table, because that was their job back then, right?
Right. It gave women a really great opportunity to provide a stark contrast to your husband's mother.
Yeah. Apparently there were a bunch of men who were like, this isn't good enough. I want my wife to cook from scratch like my mom, Dr. Freud. And if they could be like my mom in a lot of other ways, that'd be awesome.
Would it kill her to wear a hairnet and rollers?
Yeah, so apparently it didn't delight all men because they weren't on board. But
would it kill her to dress me up in a diaper? We should do an episode on that sometime. That's a thing.
I thought you were about to say on Freud, but on men wearing diapers as adults?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as for I think it's called diaper play. For sex play, but it's diaper-centric.
Yeah, we should do a podcast on that. Just that.
Well, we can include it in maybe a fetish one. How about that?
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
That took a weird turn all of a sudden.
It really did. Geez, you got anything else on TV dinners? That's a good way to end it, I think.
Nope.
Should we take a break?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go change my diaper, and we'll talk about gelatin right after this.
Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well designed, and they can be well designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating, we're talking about grills, we're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Work can be a little weird. One minute you're in a meeting that could have been an email. The next you're trying to decode corporate jargon that somehow means nothing. And don't even get us started on the quick sync that turns into a 45-minute deep dive.
Yeah, well, the truth is figuring out your career isn't always straightforward. Whether you're trying to grow, pivot, or just stay relevant, it can feel like you're navigating it all on your own. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in.
That's right. LinkedIn can help you grow your career, helping you confidently navigate your path with insights, ideas, and inspiration from your professional community. You can stay up to date with the latest trends in your field, connect with people who get it, and discover opportunities tailored to your goals, your experience, and what actually matters to you.
Whether you're looking for something new or just trying to grow where you are, LinkedIn gives you the tools and connections to move forward with confidence. Because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more.
So, Chuck, you were saying that in the last one that that the TV dinner hit just right,
Yes.
and struck America in part because women were starting to enter the workforce, right? And what that was partially the result of World War II. World War II also changed things as far as food and food consumption and food packaging goes, and that apparently at the end of World War II, there were a lot of companies that had gone all in into supplying the troops food.
Yes.
And were making pretty great money, but apparently were basically caught with a large amount of supply when the war ended. And they said, well, if we don't figure out a way to get non-wartime America, the regular American consumer, to buy this stuff, we're going to go out of business. We're overextended, basically. And so food companies, I guess individually and on the whole, taught America to basically eat what had prior to that point been considered field rations.
Yeah, like Spam, if you remember that podcast, that kind of was where that whole movement was born.
Yep, Spam, condensed soup, dehydrated stuff, freeze-dried stuff, like all of this came out of basically an overstock of World War II food supplies that were intended for troops and were kind of repackaged and rearranged to be served to the American consumer.
Yeah.
And part of that also was that same thing that TV dinner struck, which was convenience, you know, like, hey, your husband still wants a meal and your family still expects you to be the one to cook for him. But now you have to work. So what are you going to do? Well, we have something helpful for you, and it's called convenience food. And one of the big convenience foods that came out of the post-war era, but really had started to gather steam before then, was gelatin.
Yeah, specifically Jell-O as the name brand, but gelatin, the word, is from Latin gelatus, meaning jellied, froze. And it was first used in Egypt, but was really first used in cooking in France. And you know, I think most people know this by now, but if you don't, gelatin is a protein, and it's produced from collagen from boiling animal bones.
Yeah, or hooves.
Yeah.
So it's glutinous basically, and it can go one of two ways, I think, depending on what you do with it. You can turn it into glue, or you can turn it into food.
Yeah, that's never a good start.
No, it really is.
You know?
Yeah, and a guy from I think the 17th century in France, what was his name? Pepin?
Yeah.
Someone Pepin.
Denis Papin.
Right. Who may or may not be related to Jacques Pepin, who is great in French. He's also a cook. He was the first person to mention it in writing, I believe. And then it just kind of sat there for a while until the 19th century, when I guess people were aware of gelatin and that you could use it as a food, but it was extraordinarily gourmet. Like, the average person was not making Jell-O at home. It was very time-consuming.
Yeah.
You had to start from scratch and boil animal bones to start the process of gelatin. It was the exact opposite of how we think of gelatin today, which is instantaneous, right?
Sure. So easy.
Yeah. So in the 19th century, this guy named Peter Cooper figured out a way to turn gelatin into a powder form, a dehydrated gelatin powder. And it went absolutely nowhere for 50 years. And I was surprised to find this out. I knew gelatin was pretty old, but it's interesting how it's just kind of moved along in these very slow little fits and starts.
Yeah, like no one would give up on it.
No.
It was interesting.
Which is weird because it's really disgusting if you think about it.
It should have been given up on.
Yeah, and it never was. It's a very bizarre invention. It almost makes you feel like there was some sort of divine hand guiding gelatin along in its progress.
So later on, in 1894, a guy named Charles Knox kind of revolutionized things when he found came up with a process that resulted in a dried sheet of gelatin, and he hired salesmen to go door to door to show women, like, hey, you can add liquid to these sheets, you can make desserts, you can make aspics, which is a really gross word, I think.
It is. It's not. It's a gross thing. It's a savory gelatin.
Yeah, which we'll get to that. But a couple of years later, Rose Knox, was that his wife, I guess?
Yes.
Published a book called Dainty Desserts, which is a book of recipes. And things were kind of moving along a little bit. Then in 1895, there was a cough syrup company in New York called Pearl B. Wait?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called?
Pearl Wait.
Okay.
Was the cough syrup.
W-A-I-T.
Right.
But they weren't selling much cough syrup, so they said, all right, let's get into the food business. And the wife, whose name was May, said, let me add some fruit syrups to this stuff. And actually, she's the one who named it Jell-O. She came up with that name.
Yeah.
But they didn't succeed either, and sold that to their neighbor, Francis, is that the whole name? Orator Francis Woodward?
Yes.
For $450, this person purchased the name brand Jell-O.
Right, and he almost fell victim to the curse of Jell-O as well, right? He could do nothing with it either. Despite some early attempts, he apparently tried to sell it to his supervisor at work for $35, even though he paid $450 to it.
Wow.
For it. So at some point, I guess he decided to give it another go, and he hired a bunch of traveling salesmen, sent them out to fairs, community gatherings, that kind of stuff, and said, teach the people how to make the Jell-O. And this time it started to stick, actually. Jell-O kind of hit at just the right time finally. Or I should say the world was finally ready for Jell-O. Part of it had to do with refrigeration.
Yeah, for sure. Once, refrigeration is key for Jell-O, as we all know.
Right.
And once those technologies were developed, it kind of, it formed. Literally.
It all congealed.
And figuratively. And then once advertising started taking over, like in the mid-1930s, General Foods had a very famous radio ad from Jack Benny, the Jello tag, which really kind of helped push things along as well.
Yeah, and I noticed that at some point they started dabbling with other flavors. I think originally they tried strawberry, raspberry, orange, and lemon, right? And then they tried chocolate, and they apparently chocolate didn't go over very well, so they released
well, as a pudding, though, right?
No, first they just released it as chocolate Jell-O.
Oh, God.
That's pretty awful. And then they thought, oh, maybe we should add milk instead of water. And that's when they came up with Jell-O pudding, and they re-released chocolate. And that spurred like a whole pudding line, including something I grew up on, which is butterscotch Jell-O pudding.
Oh, yeah?
Man, that was so good. Except you had to get the skin off. The skin was no good, but everything under the skin was great.
What's the skin? It was just like on top?
It was the tougher layer on top, yeah. But if you just scraped it off, you had some nice pudding underneath.
Emily still loves the chocolate Jell-O pudding.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, she'll make a parfait,
Oh, nice.
A little pudding, a little whipped cream, little pudding, little whipped cream.
She knows how to live.
Yeah, she does. It's a special night. That happens about 3 times a year, and I'm like, oh boy, it's parfait time. So in the 1950s, supposedly the Jell-O shot with alcohol was invented by this really interesting guy named Tom Lehrer, who he's a mathematician and a singer-songwriter who I looked into him. He did song parodies about math and chemistry. I guess he was like the Jonathan Colton of his day, as far as I can tell. And he was also in the Army. And to get around alcohol restrictions, as the story goes, he claims he invented the Jell-O shot, which I've never had.
What?
I've never had a Jell-O shot.
Wow. Well, you're not missing much. They're pretty gross.
Well, Jell-O. I can't stand Jell-O.
Well, even if you like or ambivalent to Jell-O, it's just gross.
Does it taste like
it's
tequila Jell-O or whatever?
Yes, it's a very obnoxious taste. You're supposed to use I think you replace half of the water with whatever liquor you're using. Usually people use vodka.
Well, yeah.
It really just stands out in a noxious way.
Gross.
By the way, Tom Lehrer, I thought that name sounded familiar. He is pretty great. He wrote this one song called "The Old Dope Peddler," and 2 Chainz actually. You know the rapper 2 Chainz from Atlanta?
No.
Yes, you do.
Oh wait, was he our guy?
Was
he the guy that judged that?
No,
car race
that
thing
was.
with us?
Oh man, who was that guy? That was Young Jock.
Oh, right.
No, 2 Chainz he's huge, man. He did a song where he sampled the Old Dope Peddler, and he, I guess, wrote to Tom Lehrer to ask for permission to sample it. And Tom Lehrer had this awesome, famous response. So just read up on that.
Did he let him use it?
Yes.
Oh, great. So he's the opposite of Don Henley.
And probably every single way, yeah. Yeah. But Jell-O shots are gross.
Jell-O shots are gross. So Jell-O is speeding along. It's taking over America. And then they decide to come out with these savory lines, and it became, and this was this post-World War II thing that you were talking about when, I guess they did, there was this great article you sent, Making and Eating the 1950s Most Nauseating Jell-O Soaked Recipes.
From Collector Week.
Yeah,
Weekly.
Hunter Oatman Stanford. And, they did this interview and,
with Ruth Clark.
Yeah, Ruth Clark, basically, it's a really good interview, and she talks about kind of this savory movement that took over, and not only with Jell-O, but the fact that it was a time in America where, and if you look back, it's so great to look back at these old ads and these old recipe books, that it was a time where the goal was to have a dinner party with this big, flashy, experimental and unique food centerpiece.
Made of Jell-O.
Well, it could
Jell-O
be
mold.
all kinds of things. We're talking about the hot dog tree.
Right. Yeah, there it could be a lot of different stuff. And I think that's what Ruth Clark does. She recreates this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And her poor husband has to eat it. But a lot of those things were Jell-O molds.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the reason why Jell-O molds were so weird and so popular is because Jell-O put so much time and effort into publishing cookbooks, and the whole point was all of these food companies wanted like all of their products to be your entire meal.
Yeah.
So they were putting these random products that the food company made into some really weird configurations, and they came up with some very odd Jell-O molds in the 50s or 60s.
It was such a sad culinary time.
It was, but Ruth Clark makes a good point that to the people at that time, like a really well thought out fancy Jell-O mold was as a centerpiece of your table was like the pinnacle of classiness.
Yeah, but we're talking about like a shaped mold with like lamb shank and asparagus inside of Jell-O.
Yeah.
A savory Jell-O that's like celery flavored.
Oh, you're lucky if it was savory. The lime Jell-O is one of the most abused Jell-O flavors of all time. People would put tuna and stuff in with the lime Jell-O. There's one called Perfection Salad that's coleslaw inside of lime Jell-O.
Yeah.
And what Ruth Clark pointed out was that gelatin apparently preserves food really well. And that coleslaw that would have otherwise been inedible and runny after day 3 was still like crunchy after day 5 when it was put inside of a Jell-O mold.
So
it's
gross.
Still gross, yeah. There's actually a great BuzzFeed article if you want to get an idea of what people were doing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s with Jell-O molds. It's called 17 Horrifyingly Disgusting Retro Gelatin Recipes. And they are gross, man. Like cottage cheese and salmon mold.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hate Jell-O.
Oh, man. This
Period.
must be like your waking nightmare.
I couldn't even look through it. You sent it to me, and I scrolled about halfway through and just deleted. I threw my computer out the window.
The best one I see is lime cheese salad. It's lime Jell-O mixed with cottage cheese.
Oh.
And then into the center of the Jell-O mold, you put a seafood salad.
Oh, my God.
Sauerkraut mold. It just goes on and on, but it was a weird time. And again, Ruth Clark has a bunch of theories. She said she can't really answer exactly why Jell-O molds were as big as they are, but she posits that part of it was this idea that there were all these companies trying to get you to use their products and these were just monstrosities that they came up with, and people fell for it.
Like canned salmon, canned tuna, in Jell-O.
Right.
My God.
So that's Jell-O molds, man.
Where do you want to head next?
Let's go to the crock pot.
All right.
That was our crock pot travel song.
First of all, I have a crock pot.
Same here.
And
is yours actually crock pot or using it as a proprietary eponym?
I don't think it is a crock pot brand pot.
Yeah.
It's a slow cooker.
There you go.
And I forget to use it a lot, but when I remember, I'll go on a little crock pot binge where I'll cook, a few meals over the course of a few weeks in a crock pot. And they're still great if you know how to use it and how to spice things up.
For sure.
And
apparently, at first, people didn't know, because if you're cooking a recipe, say, it's like simmering, say like a beef stew on the stovetop.
Yeah.
That simmering action that it's undergoing, it does something different to the recipe than a crock pot does, even though it's the exact same recipe. And so at first when crock pots came out, it was first introduced by Rival back in 1971. When crock pots first came out, people were like, this dinner that it's making is really gross. It doesn't taste very good. It's bland.
Yeah.
And yet they still didn't stop using or buying crock pots.
Well, food was more bland back then.
Well, we're talking the 70s. So by the 70s, I think people were using more spices than before. I think it was more bland in like the 40s and maybe the 50s.
Yeah, but you're probably right. But that one article we read said, like an old recipe for chili would have like a teaspoon of chili powder or something.
Right.
And it's like all the food just sucked because they didn't realize, like, no, man, you dump a bunch of that junk in there.
So, you were saying back in the 40s or 50s when TV dinners really hit, moms were starting to enter the workforce. In 1971, moms were really into the workforce. And so the idea of having a crock pot where you could make this meal in a one pot in the morning, throw it all in there, turn it on, and then come home at the end of the day and dinner was ready, and you still went to work and got everything you needed to get done, was so attractive that despite the fact that it made these meals that did not taste like they should, people were still, like I said, they were still buying the crock pots, and instead they started to look around to find tips for how to make these things taste better. And actually a woman named, what was her name, Mabel?
Yeah, Mabel Hoffman.
Mabel Hoffman stepped into the fray and said, Peace, children. I've got this covered. Listen up.
Yeah, she wrote a book called The Crockery Cookery, or Crockery Cookery. And it was a huge, huge hit. It was a New York Times bestseller. I believe she went on to sell about 6 million copies of this thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even think we've said that, we said you throw the food in there and cook it all day, but the whole idea is that you put a kind of a tight-fitting lid on there, and it cooks at a very, very low heat all day long.
Right. And then when you get home from work 8 hours later or something like that, it will be done. You just serve and smile.
Yeah, and thanks to Crockery Cookery, the crock pot in 1971 earned $2 million, in 72 $10 million, 73 $23 million, and then eventually peaking in 1975 at $93 million worth of crock pots being sold. Yep. It was a genuine, legit craze, food craze.
And supposedly Crock Pot Cookery, the book, was America's 6th best-selling cookbook ever, right?
Yeah.
So this was like a legitimate craze. Crock pot cooking was a legitimate craze. But again, there was something compared to the same recipes on the stovetop as compared to a crock pot. There was something, it was, the flavor was just disappointing. So what Mabel Hoffman did was, on a very tight deadline, create from scratch a book, I guess the world's first cookbook of slow cooker recipes. And she did it in her own kitchen with like 20 crock pots going all day, every day.
Yeah, she had to.
Testing all this stuff. And she figured out some of the keys to crock pot cooking, which was like you want to use way less liquid than you would use like on the stovetop because you have a lot less evaporation. The
Sure.
crock pot keeps it in there, which is one reason why meat is so tender in a crock pot or a slow cooker, because it just recirculates the moisture.
Yeah.
Rather than allowing it to just evaporate, right?
Yep.
And then another thing she came up with was that when you use herbs into the recipe, you want to reserve some of them for right before the thing's finished cooking, so you can add it like a pop of fresh flavor.
Yes.
So once she figured this out, crockpots just took off even more.
Yeah, so they were selling a bunch of crock pots. She was selling a bunch of cookbooks. And eventually she said, hey, I really was onto something here. So she wrote, deep fry cookery, chocolate cookery, and these are 78, 79, 77, like kind of all in a row, crepe cookery. And then eventually, in 1985, healthy crockery cookery.
I know.
And the person who interviewed her later in life said that she was just this really great lady, very humble, and was super upfront about the fact that she hey, I hit something at the right time with the right book, and it just I kind of fell into this, and it's been just like a wonderful thing for my life.
Yep.
It's really neat.
Yeah, she sounds like a pretty cool person.
So what's your crockpot recipe?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
But usually some sort of like beef.
Yeah?
It just does such a good job, like making a roast or something, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, I that's usually what I'm cooking when I cook in a crock pot is beef.
All right. Josh's beef crockpot surprise.
Right, with aspic.
Ugh.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break and we'll finish up with a interesting bit on oat bran.
Work can be a little weird. One minute you're in a meeting that could have been an email. The next you're trying to decode corporate jargon that somehow means nothing. And don't even get us started on the quick sync that turns into a 45-minute deep dive.
Yeah, well, the truth is figuring out your career isn't always straightforward. Whether you're trying to grow, pivot, or just stay relevant, it can feel like you're navigating it all on your own. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in.
That's right. LinkedIn can help you grow your career, helping you confidently navigate your path with insights, ideas, and inspiration from your professional community. You can stay up to date with the latest trends in your field, connect with people who get it, and discover opportunities tailored to your goals, your experience, and what actually matters to you.
Whether you're looking for something new or just trying to grow where you are, LinkedIn gives you the tools and connections to move forward with confidence. Because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
So, Chuck,
Yes.
we finally arrived. We're just going to go forward a few years. The Wayback Machine is in the shop, which
Yeah.
is why I'm having to do it. To the 80s, man.
And oat bran.
Yes. I know that we differ on the interestingness of this one. I'm just fascinated by it.
Really?
I really am, man, because it's got it all. It's like, it's got the 80s.
Okay.
Do you remember that SNL, the famous SNL ad for colon blow?
I do.
That was based on this. It came out of this trend.
Uh-huh.
Has to do with studies that contradict those studies.
Yeah.
Bad science reporting, the whole thing.
Okay.
I love it.
Oats.
Oat bran.
Yeah.
It's very important.
It is.
So there was this huge trend in the 80s where anything that had to do with oat bran, you could sell 1 million units of a minute.
Yes.
So much so that there was a 1990 article from Tulsa World that said that the LA Times article from 1990 said that there were over like 300 different items available in grocery stores at the time that touted on its label the fact that it had oat bran in it. People were nuts for it.
Yes, they were. And this is largely due to some studies that came out that said that oat bran was kind of a miracle food for lowering cholesterol.
Right. And that was like back in the late 70s. And I guess Quaker Oats took notice of those studies and they released a thing called Mother's Oat Bran. But they sent it straight to the hippies at the health food store and didn't do anything about it. They just released a product and that was that.
Yeah.
And then Kellogg's came along and said, hey, you know what? What if we start telling people that our food can basically prevent cancer? Can we do that? And the lawyers said no, and the president of Kellogg said, well, we're doing it anyway. Who's going to stop us, Reagan? And Reagan said, no, I'm not going to stop you.
That was a good Reagan.
Thank you. And so they said, okay, well, you eat our cereal and it will reduce cancer. And nothing happened. There was no blowback, despite the fact that this had been illegal for nearly a century.
And then Quaker Oats partnered with Chicago's Northwestern University and Linda Van Horn in 1986 because they had a similar study about oat bran cutting cholesterol.
Right. So they're starting to say, well, Kellogg didn't get in trouble. Let's try this ourselves. And they went out and they hired Wilford Brimley. You remember his ads?
Yeah. I think I told the story about working with him.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't he like the antithesis of what his persona was?
Yeah. The word got around. They were like, this, just it may be a short day. Because that's how it goes with him sometimes.
It's so funny.
And I think it was. I think we wrapped it about half day because he was just like, I'm done.
I'm cantankerous.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, when the cameras were rolling, he told everybody that eating Quaker oat bran was the right thing to do. And it would cut your cholesterol.
That's right.
And then this book came out. So things are starting to build here for oat bran. This book came out called The 8-Week Cholesterol Cure by a guy named Robert E. Kowalski. And it chronicled the decline of his LDL, the bad cholesterol, just from eating an oat bran diet. And that book became extraordinarily popular.
Yeah.
Supposedly it was one of the greatest selling self-help health books of all time. It just took off.
Yeah.
And then yet another thing happened. And this was the thing. This is like where the peak began. I think the Journal of the American Medical Association, April 1988, published a study from the University of Maryland where these researchers found that, eating oat bran could really significantly lower your cholesterol. And not only that, it does it for a sixth of the price of the expensive cholesterol-lowering drugs.
That's right. And people ate even more oat bran.
That's right. The trend is developing. Can you see it?
I think it's fully developed at this point.
So everybody's going oat bran crazy, and one of the big things that that they were doing was eating oat bran muffins. But these oat bran muffins were like loaded with fat and butter and eggs, and so they weren't actually doing anything to lower their cholesterol because the effects would be counteracted.
Suckers.
Right. But in the meantime, people were still having fun eating lots of muffins and pretending they were really healthy. And then this Harvard study came out, and it basically said, you know what, you're all fools. You're dummies. You know how it lowers your cholesterol? Because it keeps you from eating bacon and eggs. That's how, you chumps.
Well, yeah, and then that study itself was attacked because they only studied 20 people, which is not much of a study.
It isn't. And the people who were on the oat bran diet were eating 20% more fat than the control group. It was a terrible study, almost like they wanted to take oat bran down a peg.
Yeah.
And it worked really well. It's basically the science reporting in major newspapers and the news services reported that oat bran was the greatest thing ever, and then they suddenly turned on it and said oat bran is nothing, and everybody dropped oat bran. And if you read the stuff today, it's true, oat bran really does lower cholesterol.
Sure.
But it just got overhyped.
Right.
Because of the 80s.
That's the 80s for you.
Yep. That's food fads, man. You got anything else?
I got nothing else.
All right, man. Well, if you want to know more about food fads, you can type those words into the search bar at howstuffworks.com. Since
Yeah.
it's a search bar.
You're not going to get much, though.
No, you may want to just look elsewhere, but still. Since I said that, it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this MS Response, and I would like to say that we got many, many great responses from our MS episode, a lot of warm thoughts from people about my friend Billy, and it was just really great. People with MS, people who had people in their family. We heard from doctors and nurses, and that's just ended up being a really good episode.
Yep.
So we appreciate that feedback.
Yep.
But this is from anonymous listener. Hey, I've been listening to your show for a couple of years now. I want to thank you for making my commute more engaging. I listened to the show on MS on my ride home and like to commend you for how well you handle the topic. I was diagnosed a few years ago at 19. Luckily, my diagnosis was quick due to the severity of my first relapse. And I feel like your podcast would have helped me understand and cope with the diagnosis in a more constructive manner than my initially trying to self-destruct. Since then, I'm continually learning about the latest research and history. I love that you discussed Lidwina and Augustus d'Este, as a lot of the time they don't come up in the mainstream discourse of MS. Didn't really know any history until I wrote an undergrad history paper on MS last year and found reading through bits of d'Este's journal to be the closest I've ever felt with a historical person. You mentioned that many tend to keep their diagnosis a secret. I'll admit that with me, it's a need-to-know basis, and I rarely openly talk about it outside of family, friends, and the support system. My support system, mainly because of the stigma of the disease and that the assumptions circulating MS tend to negatively alter people's perceptions of myself as an individual. Have had people approach me when I start limping thanks to fatigue and a permanently numb foot, but I'll brush it off and tell them there's nothing to worry about or it's an old injury. However, I think with time it's getting easier to talk about thanks to resources like your podcast that are well researched and accurate. I cringe whenever someone tells me there's an easy homeopathic solution to my ailments, and sometimes I struggle with discussing MS in an accessible way that doesn't solely rely on the clinical pathological understanding of it, and I will be sure in the future to redirect people to this episode. Thank you so much for sharing, and we said we keep this anonymous because this person...
That was close.
Yeah, this person said, that's great that you read it, but if they're keeping it quiet for now, we don't want to, broadcast the name.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
Thank you, Anonymous.
Yeah, thanks, Anonymous. If you want to get in touch with us like Anonymous did, you can tweet to us. Yeah, I guess that'd be anonymous. I'm at Josh Clark and at SYSK Podcast. You can hang out with Chuck on Facebook.com/Stuff You Should Know or at Charles W. Chuck Bryant on Facebook. You can send us both an email. We promise to be confidential at stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com. And as always, join us at our home on the web, stuffyoushouldknow.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com.
Hey everybody, here's a fact for you. In the United States, there is a break-in every 26 seconds, and that means that somewhere right now, an intruder is getting closer. And the problem with most security systems is that they only alert you after the break-in has started, and that's too late.
Well, that's what makes SimpliSafe different. They use alerts. SimpliSafe's U.S.-based live agents, they identify threats on your property and help deter them before they actually break in. So the intruder never gets into your house. The crime is stopped before it even starts.
That's right. And another great thing about SimpliSafe is they have no long-term contracts. They give you peace of mind and great value with their monitoring deterrence plans because they just start at about $1 a day.
Yeah, Simply Safe sent us a setup years back, and I still use mine every day.
Yeah, and apparently setup, you can do it by yourself in under 30 minutes, so it's a really good value and it doesn't take long.
So if you want to experience the Simply Safe peace of mind, you can take advantage of the Simply Safe discount offered to Stuff You Should Know listeners. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplysafe.com/stuff. That's half off at simplysafe.com/stuff. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Mom, can I have Lingo Kids? Dad, Lingo Kids, please!
When did we become the Lingo Kids house?
No idea. Last week it was dinosaurs. This week it's...
Lingo Kids!
Why Lingo Kids?
Because it's the best thing ever.
We can play games
with astronauts,
wild animals,
and superheroes.
With more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids.
So, no dinosaurs?
And dinosaurs! Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.